Okay, I think I'm on. Yep, yeah, yeah. Yes, we are live. A very, very pleasant good evening to you all. This is Dr. Matthews-Bey, live out of Guyana. A very pleasant good evening to you. Good evening to all, one and all, once again on this a special day. I'm going to take one more minute before I start. Please, as you come in, share the live. As you get the notification, share the live. As a matter of fact, how it's working these days, you gotta ask to share the live. Proclamation to Liberation. That's the topic this evening. Just hold a minute, please. Good night. Well, I'm live right now, so I'm live right now, so I gotta do it after the show. Okay? Okay, good. Yes. A very, very, very pleasant good evening to you once again. This is Dr. Matthews-Bey, and a very pleasant good evening to all those who are now joining. Share the live, share the live as you get your notification. Share the live. Okay, okay. So don't forget, uh, as of last week to now, the title is BEY Bay. So I would very much appreciate if you continue to address me as that. It helps me to proclaim my ancestral lineage. And hold on, let me see what's happening here. Oh, yeah. So good evening. Good evening to one and all. Tonight is a special time where we will be discussing proclamation to the liberalized or the people that needs liberation. And before I start, let me welcome to those who are now joining via the online radio, the GMS Live Radio Guyana, to those who are joining and now are joining. As a matter of fact, they are now live. And black love to you all. So before I start, I want to expound upon the situation that occurred today that still has me wondering what really went wrong. And I'm going to talk about it because I think it's due and overdue, because if I don't talk about it, it will keep bothering me and I may go to sleep tonight a bit stressed out about it because you know, it's not really I'm not really getting the gist of it. So before I start, I'm going to share this little story with you. And I want to do so because, hold on. I want to do so because I believe if I don't, it kind of weighs on me. And for those who would know who Gavin Matthews really is, I'm a man of the truth. I don't hesitate I don't live in a closet. I I like to be outside of the closet because I want people to see me for who I am, not for what they think I am, for who I am. And the only way for you to see that, I have to give to you the kind of person that I am or that I've become. Very young gentleman, I figured out that maybe younger than me, he he might be a pretty well off, maybe has a big family, or you know, called me 3 weeks ago and ordered 25 t-shirts at $30 to one, right? So while he was ordering, I corrected him. I said, "Sir, you're not buying the t-shirts. You're paying for the brand, the Black Love brand that will be printed on the t-shirts. That's what you're paying for." And he said, "Okay, and very convincing individual. I didn't really want to do this, but I have to do it. Believe you me, brothers and sisters, it's on my mind." So I said 25 t-shirts at $30 each is a tall order for Guyanese. For me, it's a tall order because I've never went past one person ordering more than 5 t-shirts. So I reminded him. I said, "I just want you to understand what you're paying for is the brand that projects a stance against oppression, racism, victimization, systematic murder, you name it. Everything that oppresses the Aboriginal man. Black love is the design and brand to stand against it." Said he understands. I said, "Okay." He gave me the variety of colors that he wanted in. I printed, I got the t shirts. As a matter of fact, I even told him, I said, "Look, this is Guyana. We don't have a credit card system. So when you call and place your orders, not like in the US, you swipe your card and you place your orders. Over here, we gotta get to see cash first, dinero." Well, you already know, and at $30 by 20, by 25, it's over 100,000 Guyana dollars. And he paid half of it. I said, "All right, no problem." And others who had also paid, they got their t-shirts to print it out at the same time. I even explained to the individual in the conversation, I said, "Sir, this is not for profit. I want you to I want you to comprehend what I'm saying." I said, "Skipper, this is not for profit. This is to support the struggle, to support the fight, to give body to the Gavin Matthews plight for the people." I said, "What this money does, it supports me and my financial needs in my bills at the end of the month. It supports the legal fees that I normally need to be done at the end of the day. And it adds more to the organization that I'm trying to develop. So the support of the people can have a safe place or a safe space to liberate them. I took my time and I explained to this young man. I figured out he was, yes, he's a young man. I happened to see him today because apparently he made the order before he came into the country. Today, and I gotta really laugh. Today of all days, today is what? The 4th in the new month. I went ahead. I even took my own little cash that I had, my extras, to make sure that this is finished off and this is being paid for and everything. One of those designs on that jersey, one alone, cost about $1,000 to be printed on the jersey. You understand? Or on the t-shirts. I even explained to him, I said there are different brands of t-shirts. One of them, it may be a Hanes, or the other one may be a Polo, but it's a plain t-shirt that I'll be printing that brand on. Lo and behold, today when I got hold of the young man to produce the items, I got a fine abusing. And I wanted to know, where did I went wrong in my conversing with this young man? You know, I cannot really understand, or I cannot really comprehend, where did I went wrong. I do not have a clothing line, people. I do not own a clothing line. I do not own t-shirts and pants and different types of sweat tops, and I do not own a clothing line. I own a brand. The brand is being printed on materials like cloth, wooden materials, or like pens, materials like mugs, materials like caps, lingerie. I do not own these materials. I do not have a brand name of clothing or clothing line. I have a brand that I paid for. That's all that I own. The black love with the heart with it that marks true love. Because if you read that design, it says the black heart or the white one, whatever one, but it says black love at the top. That heart says true love. That's what I own. That's what I paid for. I cannot afford to have a clothing line like Hanes or Polo or Timberlands or Tommy Hilfiger. I cannot afford those things. I do the things that I can afford. In this studio that you see me here, broadcasting to you live, it's just me, myself, and I. If I have a problem that arise, I have to call the technician, who's sitting down in his home, to help me ratify some other problem in order to make this work. If you see the 4 pieces of instrument that causes this to make it look live, original, you would be surprised. This is not a high-tech studio. I don't pay staffs. I don't have staffs. I cannot afford those things. Hey, and I don't complain. My duty is to do one thing, not only to not only to rise my proclamation status, but to liberate not only myself but my people from mental bondage and physical slavery. That is why I sit here every night. That is why I produce myself to be the sacrifice for something that is good. That is why I say the wealth of a man is not what he builds, gains, or buy, but the ability to change lives positively. That is why I say, Humpty, a lot of times on the show, I prefer die for something than live for nothing at all. This is how I've met this stage. And I've met this stage with the help of others, especially diaspora. That is why I even printed the brand. So I don't have to beg them steady. I don't have to pick up the phone and call them and ask for help. I started thinking constructive. So I got a fine views in today, and I'm saying to all of you who are looking, Gavin Matthews does not own a brand name of clothing. I do not. If you know what I had to do today, you'd be surprised. I invested, I collect half of the money and I invested in finishing product. And I eventually gave it away because you know why? I refuse to let that interfere with my mental capacity. I will not disintegrate myself nor a brother because of material things. Excuse me. I will not. I will not disintegrate myself. I will not pull myself down just to make an even parcel of comprehension. And I will not do that to the brother, but I say this. Although I've invested and the monies that I've put into the finishing product, I ain't get it back. I'm still in need, but I prefer to remain in need when I know I can come out of it sometime or the other, maybe this week or next week, than to pull and tug at something that doesn't make sense. I got to find views in about brand name. You could imagine that? Seriously? I can't print Black Love around the collar and have a tag mark Black Love. That's a process. You gotta got money to make sure that that process is finished. You know how much it costs to register that brand, register the design. You know how much it costs not only to register it, but to patent it. I did that because I see a future in patenting the type of person I am. I prefer invest in me to make sure that the world gets to understand who is Gavin Matthews. That's why I brought it out. So I want those who are looking, if you call and you want to order, please remember the 30 US dollars or the $6,000 that I'm that I'm asking for, it is not for the clothing material, this piece of cloth, you know. It's printed on a piece of cloth, but it's not for this. It's for the brand. Oh, please, I beg you. Today I give away all of that. I said to the brother, I said, look, watch. If you don't want to pay me the other half, it's okay. You understand? You pay for it, just take it and go. It was painful to go through that, believe you me, because I am trying to help him to understand. And the brother had to tell me that I'm making money off of people, and I mean, where did he lose his comprehension? The reason why I'm selling it is to gain money. Oh my gosh. I don't have a job. I don't have a 9 to 5. My businesses are shut down because of this de facto administration. I cannot open up to do business. The three businesses and the company, I can't do anything because they ain't gonna give me contracts. I'm making more worse. I'm a political prisoner in my own country. So I stay in my little corner, but I just put the pressure upon them. So soon as they raise the ugly head in anything, I just advance to be recognized. Does the strength I want to keep for? Me want to keep the strength for attack a brother or a sister. The strength I want to keep is to attack the de facto administration and any government that seems to want to oppress my people. But it hurts to see that I have to give away all of that and gain nothing from it to support my cause. Buddy, brothers and sisters, I know we like brand name and we like this, but black love, it is just the simplicity of it. It's not a brand name like Fubu for us, by us, and all these things. I don't have that kind of line. I want you all to understand me. I got to buy materials to put the brand on, to print it on. I own the brand Black Love. I own the patent of it, the blueprint. I would happy to know 10, 15 years down the line, yes, I end up turning like Fubu or Tommy Hilfiger or some one of them. But as of now, I just own the brand, people. I don't own the clothesline. Y'all understand what I mean? That's all I just own the brand. And I'm selling the brand so I can function. So I had to say this tonight because it was really on my mind. And I want to complete what I'm saying tonight and I don't want to go back to it. I'm very much happy. I think I'm much relieved that I had to say these things on this live show. Now, this is why it is be fired up for. That's why I sell the brand because it is pertaining to these things. So, good night to you once again to those who are now joining from Guyana to the Caribbean and around the world. Tonight is Proclamation Night. Proclamation to a Liberation. Last night, I went back to the Black Law Dictionary and and I studied all this information that I'm about to give to you from when I came off the show last night. I went to bed like 2 o'clock this morning. I divulge into this conversation that I want to talk about tonight because I think that the edification process, not the education, the edification process to my people must be given real. And I want to talk about the etymology. Etymology means the origination of words and the meaning of words. So we can get to understand we cannot be tied up with the information given to us. Hold on. No, my sister. I don't let me respond to it, but I'm a different person. Gavin Matthews is very different. I cannot do things to cause a strife with my brothers and sisters. It's something that I cannot do. We have punished too long. We have suffered too long. And if allowing him to just go with whatever I gave to him, that's it. I don't wanna I don't wanna carry it on no more and prolong it and be with a strife. No, because it's expensive, yes. It costs me yes, and I can't get back the money. I need it. That's the reason why I do what I do, but let it ride. So the Organization of American States, you ever heard about the OAS? Has a in its sections they got the Organization of American States has a treaty, and in that treaty there are there are specific settlement and dispute laws or guidelines that they would ask us to follow, and Guyana falls under the Organization of American States. And the reason why Guyana falls under the Organization of American States because Guyana does business with the American entity. As a matter of fact, the US entity, which is the United States. And because Guyana is in the Americas, that is in combination with the Treaty of Peace and Friendship that has entered into the state of Morocco and the US. Guyana falls under that because where Guyana is situated is on the American continent, which is South America, which still includes South, Central, and North America. So that is why you have the OAS, the organized, although Guyana is still bounded to the Commonwealth, which is the Crown of Britain. It is a corporation of the Commonwealth, but it still has treaties that it wants to be identified with. Hold on. That it wants to be identified with uh, uh, the treaties that the Moors or the Moorish Americans had entered into with the US, the United States, which is a corporation. Like Guyana is a corporation. To those who are now joining, to those who were here over a period of time, you would understand what you would have comprehend when I say corporation, because I have break it down into syllables to help you to understand that we're all living in a corporate society. It's not a republic, although it says it's a republic, but it's not because we are citizens or we have citizenship to a corporation, right? And that's what I want to talk about tonight. It is to help you to proclaim who you are and to liberate what you must become, not what people think you must become. And I had this situation where Some persons along the line would have felt that I am saying things that may include or may arouse racist content. But the thing is that there's no such thing as racist content. Racism was it's a figment, it's a fictions of one imagination that is being expressed upon the people from what you call a democracy. A democracy is a shadow government of the original people, and a democracy must practice these things in order for us to become subjects. Racism and enslavement, and we still go through that. First, you have to first the shadow government, which is the CEOs of these corporations, must act out racist against its subjects in order to enslave them to a category of people. And each you realize you go to a country, you find people have categories that they fall under. That's enslavement. Like for instance, in Guyana, the Aboriginal people fall under. When I mean the Aboriginal people, people like me, fall under the system or the category of entertainment. That's an enslavement because they will try to tell you, doesn't matter how much education you have or where you go, this is your entitlement to an enslavement. This is the category, which is entertainment. And what you find when people leave Guyana, the corporation of Guyana, and go to another corporation like the US, they're not treated like that. They've been treated differently because they got categories that are different, still enslavement, but are different from the categories that they fall under in Guyana than the categories that they fall under in the US. So now the eyes become more wide open, and they get a different treatment, and they realize, well, look, I got some freedom. And that's why people in the diaspora wonder why Guyanese are not standing up, why they're not protesting, why they're not doing this. Well, because they're open to different privileges, although they're still living in a system of category of enslavement. So if you get what I mean. So the OAS has a charter of Pacific settlements and disputes, and this is what it says. Chapter 5, Article 27 of chapter 5. It says, a special treaty will establish adequate measures for settlement of disputes and will determine a pertinent, pert, sorry, pertinent procedures for each peaceful means such that no dispute between American states remain without a definitive settlement with a reasonable period of time. And the reason why I choose that particular article, because it references to citizenship. And to those who want to declare or proclaim, I am no longer a citizen of the corporation of Guyana, because I have realized that in order to remain a citizen or in order to have citizenship, because it's remember the corporation of Guyana really comes from the sea. It comes with a ship, and I'm going to show you why. In the laws, it talks about it. That's why when you go to court and you're a prisoner, they say put the prisoner in the docks. There's only one place you can find the docks. It's either on board a ship or on the wharf. And what the magistrates and the judges does, they practice these lawful elements of the sea, nothing more else. It can be the elements of land because they have no jurisdiction. That's food for thought at another time. And I'm going to go ahead from the Black Law Dictionary, where I'm showing you now where it pertaining to citizenship and settlement. according to in the American states. You know, in Guyana, we have a particular law in our constitution where it says you cannot enter into an agreement with the indigenous people because they are not required or seen as citizens. Like if an indigenous man aboards a bus, and when we say indigenous, we think of Amerindians. No, it's those who proclaiming their nationality as Aboriginal people. So in the laws, in the Constitution of Guyana, it says that you cannot enter into any contract or verbal agreement with an indigenous person because he or she is not seen as a requirement as a citizen of a corporation of Guyana. It says so. And the law still stands. That is why they have a Ministry of Indigenous Affairs. That is why they have the yearly two shows meeting. If you get my point. That is why you have a yearly two shows meeting or a yearly meeting of indigenous people, because the laws of the corporation of Guyana does not apply to them. The two shows meeting is to talk about what the government or what the de facto administration, because it is a de facto anyhow. It doesn't matter which party holds that position. It is a de facto administration. So what happens? They will discuss with these indigenous leaders in how they will go about supporting their livelihoods, which lands they think they want to occupy, and which land they think they want to give to the corporation. That yearly two shows meeting was not supposed to be a yearly meeting. That meeting supposed to end up into a treaty of peace. You understand? It's supposed to be a treaty of peace and understanding within the corporation, so they can be let alone to live their lives. That's why when an Aboriginal man or an indigenous man commits a crime within his village, his judgment is passed from the leadership of the village to Tushau. One of them, I think, in one of those villages, I think in the years of Sam Hines, when I was his bodyguard, one of the guy was caught uh, interfering with a young child, and he was sentenced to 5 years wearing a yoke. And I think what happened, the then government, I think was under the same bar, Jack Dio, wanted to intervene because I think they said the punishment was too harsh. The guy wears a yoke every day, every night, and he's outside. He can't go in a house. He has to bear. That means, and he has to bear this punishment in the natural nature of law, and they found it to be very harsh. But that was their punishment. Now they're trying to inculcate these villages into the system by registering their babies when they're born. They put a health center there. They started now. Not only that, now they're starting to make sure that they vote. They be a part of the voting process. Now they don't have any powers now. So what happens now? These indigenous people will fall under an abandonment because they throw away their natural responsibility as becoming a naturalized citizen, as being a naturalized citizen, and now decide to become a citizen, part of the citizenship of the corporation of Guyana. They're throwing away their birthrights by abandonment. And when they do that, then this de facto administration sweeps in now and take up their lands and their assets because they abandoned it. Now they have no more lineage to it because the de facto administration can raise their hands and say, well, look, they throw away their natural life. They don't want to be seen as a living soul anymore. They want to be seen as a subhuman, so they come into the system. Now, we're going to talk about the laws pertaining to citizenship. And that is why when I was talking last night, when I said to the young man on the comment, when I said to him he has a date of entry, this law is going to explain to you. And as a matter of fact, the thing is, tomorrow is arrival day. Tomorrow is a big day. It's arrival day. But most East Indians say it's Indian arrival day. And you could imagine that is celebrated. They have a date of entry. So they could only be seen as a citizenship. They could only be they could only be seen as a citizen of the cooperative or the corporation of Guyana. Or you call it Cooperative Republic of Guyana, but it's the same thing. The Black Laws Dictionary says in French law, a permanent and fixed residence in France of an alien who has not acquired French citizenship nor taken steps to do so, but who intends to make his home permanent or indefinite in that country is called a domicile or a de facto. And who am I referring to? I'm referring to Mr. Dagdio and his colleagues. Because they have a date of entry, their status is of a domicile and a de facto. And I'm going to show you where in the laws of Guyana it says so. Immigration. Oh my gosh. Just now, hold on. For the immigration, this is what it says: the act of removing from one country or state, these are laws to those who are listening, and these are explanations or what you call the etymology of these words. De facto domicile, I just read that, and this is the etymology of immigration. The act of removing from one country or state to another. It is to be distinguished from the expatriation. Okay? The latter means the abandonment of one's country and reunification of one's citizenship in it. And that is what they're doing to the indigenous community home in Guyana here, who are home on the South American continent. This is what they're doing. They're using the immigration laws. This is what the immigration, and this is what the word immigration, the etymology of the word immigration says. And I'm going to refer it to as the indigenous people in Guyana. The act of removing from one country or state to another, removing from the lands that you call your home, whether it be the Waiawaya community or the Arawak community that you call your home. You want to remove from that. It is giving up your status to go into the corporation of Guyana. This is what you're doing. And it says from one place to another, it is to be distinguished. It is to be recognized. The distinguished, it is your movements are to be distinguished as from expatriation. The latter means The abandonment of one's country, abandonment of the land that you're coming from. That's your country, America. You're abandon, you're abandoning America to now go into the corporation of Guyana. That's what it means. You understand? Abandonment of one country and the reunification. Here the word is sorry. Not unification. I'm using the wrong word. Right? It is the renunciation of one's citizenship in it. You're renouncing yourself to be recognized. You don't want to be recognized anymore as a aboriginal. You want to be recognized as a Guyanese, a part of the corporate Republic of Guyana. It's a corporation. For me now, I'm renouncing myself as a Guyanese. I've already did it. So I'm no longer Guyanese. I'm an American Aboriginal or a Moorish American, however you want to look at it, in South America. That is that's part of my. So when I say my name is Bey, Gavin Matthews Bey, Bey is now the title to be recognized as an American. When we say America, we think about North America, all the snow falling in a nice fancy state. No, we living all there. All there. We to those who are looking. When you renounce your citizenship as a Guyanese and to go back to being a Moorish American, there's no there's no specific area your entitlement falls. You're entitled to all the America, Central, North, and South America. That is why when I receive my documents of travel, I must be free to travel from one part of America to the next part without being interfered with. And that information has been furnished to the de facto administration and the immigration. So I will have my documents of travel, not passport. Passport is to be recognize your citizenship. Your ID card is to be recognize your citizenship. So you belong to the corporation. And I'm going to show you why you have to have an ID card if you're part of the cooperative or the part of the corporations that sits on the Americas. Show you why. The law says so, not Gavin Matthews. And because of this that I've just talked about, the immigration, etymology of the immigration makes you now a 14th Amendment citizen. That means you have no base, you have no foundation. You're lost. You can be deported at any time from the country in which you come from, like Jack Dio. That's what makes them a de facto because they're not real. That's what makes the corporation of Guyana de facto. We're living in a bubble created. Here, y'all who there on this comment, don't abuse these people. Sit down and learn because I'm gonna tell you something. When I finish here, I could become a lawyer, friend. Among the things, the Constitution, sometimes got to read two, three different sections of the Constitution just to make sure that my information is correct. And that's why I say, oh, sorry, I forgot to say Islam, my brothers and sisters. ISLAM means I, self law, am master. Islam. That's what it means. I forgot to say that. This is something I will have to do steady constantly on the show. It's not a religion, it's a culture that we live. We have a language that belongs to us. We didn't born in English language. Our foreparents didn't know anything about English language. English language was created to enslave the population of the world. That's why it's a combination of languages. So it's good to know the language or the dialect in which you come from. And one of the main ones that you can talk, it's Arabic, because Arabic was part of the Ottoman Empire. Part the Moors used to speak Arabic. That's why our laws were definitive. It was defined. It was factual. It was real. Any other law outside of the Moorish law or the Moorish American law are de facto. Any other law. Any other law is based upon acts, statutes, and codes, which is there to trick you, to give yourself up as being ignorant. You can only go to jail if you're ignorant, because the de facto law states that if you're not if you're not knowledgeable of your lineage and on your past and the language you speak and the culture you came from, you're definitely a slave, because that's what the corporations tells you in their system. That's why you see when people go to jail, you see people go to court for simple, frivolous matter, and then the judge sentenced them to 3 months. I'm going to show you a simple example. In 2005, a young man was sentenced to jail for 3 months because he was found loitering in the domain of the Supreme Court without reasonable cause. You know what's loitering? Like if you stand up in your bus a lime, you decide to drink a drink, and the sun hot and you want to stop walk. That's loitering. But if you don't know your rights, that because you're walking and you're tired and you decide to take a stance where you are to ease the stress of being tired, they can't lock you up for that. But if you don't know what to say, like the young man who got 3 months in jail, imagine his family put out a missing, went to the police station. This is a funny thing. They went to the police station, put out a missing report that this guy was missing. They can't find him. He left home, and they know side he there. But because he was arrested by the city police, and the city policeman that arrested him had some altercation with him some time ago with his girlfriend. Man and woman story. Decide to pick him up and charge him for loitering. And because the poor young man, ignorant no tale, that's why they say ignorance of the law is no excuse. He went to jail for 3 months for loitering. Doesn't know what to say when he meets before the magistrate. Got 3 months. 3 months for loitering. Let's get back to the topic at hand. Now, this is the part that made me so much. This is part of Guyana's law. It says naturalized citizen. Here, what is a naturalized citizen? I want you all to understand me. Pay very keen attention. Even if you got to get out a book, y'all buy one of these. You see it? Buy one of these. Buy two pen, a blue and a red. Don't buy the black. You're gonna understand the reason why. Buy a blue and a red ink. And get one of these notepads. Buy three or two. Put them down. Every time Gavin Matthews come, it's classroom time. We're gonna go through the motion, we're gonna rock the boat. I rock the boat hard because when I done got this show, they just call me. They call. Why we doing? Hold on, just now they're gonna go and they're gonna say Gavin Matthews, man like this man like he running mad. Just now they're gonna say so because they don't want you to learn the truth. They want the truth to be among a few, a special few, and the rest got to be enslaved because they don't know the truth. So when you're coming on to Gavin Matthews' show, Please don't bother with the jagabats. Listen. That's why I refuse to let what happened today change my thinking, my concepts of how I'm going to run the show tonight. Listen to this part. Naturalized citizen. It says, one who being an alien by birth. Listen, all the Aboriginal people that look like me. One naturalized citizen, one who being an alien by birth. Stop right there. All those who has an entry date. Meaning all those who for parents has an entry date when they enter onto this land that they call America. Naturalized citizen, I'm going to go back again. One who being an alien by birth. So those who for parents came to this land, to this slave land, this America, and have an entry date. Therefore, parents are alien. And their children, which is their offspring, are alien by birth because their parents has an entry date. So naturalized citizens cannot claim lineage to the land. That is why in this de facto administration, they're trying their best to issue lands via way of transport. That also in itself, it's temporary. Because anytime at all, you can be transported off the land. That's why they call it transport. You ain't own nothing. Even if you get a lease, you're still in own. It belongs to the lineage of those of the Americas. That is why they enter into that peaceful treaty. With peace and friendship with the Moorish community or the Moorish Empire, or you want to call it the Ottoman Empire, any one out of the two. The Aboriginals. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. That is why they had to enter into that peaceful treaty with peace and friendship. So their corporation can exist, they can invest, they can make money, and we can gain from that. But in conquering, tell themselves, but although they think they conquer, the law still exists. In order for the laws doesn't exist, they have to kill us out. That is why you had that reign of terror between 2000 and 2010 by the Barrett Jagdeo government. So many Aboriginal people, or we like say black people, died. 1,480 mass genocide. They don't know the rights. They are Aboriginal. But we can't tell them though. We got to tell them that the black. We got to tell them that they come here via slavery and slave ships. No, we didn't come here by that. We were enslaved right on the same continent and shipped to Europe and those places. Here, when you get down into your own story, you'd be surprised. The great people say the greatest trick the devil ever pulled is let the world that it didn't exist. The greatest lie these Caucasites did was to convince the world that they brought us to these continents as slaves. This is the greatest lie, the greatest trick in order to steal our birthrights. That's why when the both of the Moors in the Americas, the thing they kill them out, but they ain't kill them out. People still existing. People still existing. We're gonna go back to the naturalized citizen now. So we passed the first phase of the explanation. One who, being an alien by birth, has received citizenship under the laws of the state or a nation. Y'all get my point? One who, being an alien by birth, have received citizenship. Being a citizen on board a ship, that's your full parents. They came on board that ship. They had an entry date. So you now have citizenship because that's the only way you can be seen and be understood. And the only way you can know that is uplifting a birth certificate identifying you, belonging to the corporation. The corporation is that same ship. All the laws pertaining to the corporation of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana is based upon an entry on board a ship. And everything else after that is a de facto. Doesn't exist. When they carry you to court, the trick is to make you talk so you can convict your own self. Remember when they arrested me at the well, they didn't really arrested me. As a matter of fact, I gave up my own self, but I didn't know. I didn't know what I was doing is surrendering myself to be tortured and to be tempted by the police force department. That's why when I went there, they said, "Well, you came here to you came here to assist us in an investigation of convicting you of cybercrime, causing emotional distress to some little child." So I didn't know that. I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't conscious. Now I am. Because now when the police come, I have not entered into any contract or agreement, verbal agreement to go anywhere with you. So who gave you authority to come for me? Now I know the laws. You can't Mirandize me because I'm not a citizen. You could only Mirandize a citizen. If you all understand what I'm, if you all understand or comprehend what I'm saying. Now this is the best part of it, where it talks about Guyana citizenship, chapter 1401. This is now the laws of the corporation. Hey, this thing sweet bad, boy. When you sit down to study out of the Black Law Dictionary, you don't want to read. Me even know when last I look at the television. I can be honest with you. Cause when I finish here, it says back the books, back to basics for tomorrow night. Cause tomorrow night I can talk about acts, codes, status, or statutes. You understand? And I'm going to talk about the cybercrime and the emotional. What's the word? What's the word? Emotional distress, which has no meaning in the law. Cyber ain't got no meaning neither. So I can break it down tomorrow. I can break this down tonight. Here, chapter 1401, Guyana citizenship, laws of Guyana, the corporation. For the purpose of this act, acts again, for the purpose of this act, whose act? The citizen, because it's you got acted. Not them will sit down judging you upon the act. For the purpose of this act, ACT, it's an action word. You hear the word action, ACTION. A person born aboard a registered ship. It, those who want to understand, or those who want to comprehend what I'm saying, and who has the Constitution with them, either digitally or physically, the paperback one or the hard copy, go to chapter 1401 now, sections 2, laws of Guyana. It's going to tell you what I just said, and I'm now reading it again. For the purpose of this act, a person born aboard a registered ship or an aircraft, or aboard an unregistered ship or an unregistered aircraft of the government of any country shall be deemed to have been born in the place in which the ship or aircraft was registered, or as in the case may be in that country, will now be known or been given citizenship. So, all them who born in the corporate republic of Guyana or the corporation of Guyana, which is the ship that represents the overseas hierarchy, which is the crown, the British crown. It is the law of the sea, not of the land. They don't have no laws of the land. It is the law of the sea. You able to say on board a ship, it's an act, or an aircraft, it's an act. Not in America, on board the recognized ship, the corporate Republic of Guyana or the Corporation of Guyana. This is what it says. This is the very first paragraph in 1401 in Guyana citizenship. Chapter 1401, sections 2. I'm going to read it back again so people can get to understand. And I'm sure, hey, them liars must be jumping out the seat. People must be wanting to Guyana wait. So I register me. When you register your child, when you write out that birth certificate, when you sign on that birth certificate, it's a registration of birth on board a ship. Not America, on board a ship, the Corporation of Guyana or the Corporate Republic of Guyana. So you now be known as a Guyanese citizen. That's the name of the ship. So you have citizenship. Where did Guyanese came from? It's an external arm of the British Crown, and it came to these lands via way of the sea. So the laws can only be there pertaining to the seas, not on board the land. That is why it is even telling you, even if the ship was unregistered, means you ain't got no identification, you know where you come from, but suddenly you arrive. You know where your four parents come from, but suddenly you arrived. Oh, to my friend that just sent me the message. Uh I'm going to do that after the show. I think I'm going to send you a digital copy of the Black Law Dictionary. So if your phone or your computer can have the space for it, I don't mind sending you it. It's a lot of pages. It's over 5,000 pages, my friend. So you gotta got the space for it. Or you can call me after. I can call you after the show. I figured out you must have a flash drive. Having a flash drive is good enough. And if you do have a flash drive, I think I'm going to send you it via your email so you can get it downloaded on your flash drive and use it for purposes like these. But if you want to study out of the Black's Law Dictionary, you must be able to have your constitution with you to verify the etymologies of the words because they got to use the word. As a matter of fact, to all those who are looking, each country, each corporation then uses the same meanings of their figurative understanding. And the Black's Law Dictionary break it down because it's an international law that they use. In every country needs to take that step. So that's why the IRI is here. You hear about the IRI? International Republican Institute. They go in every country and try to ratify your laws with international laws so it can resemble the same. That's why I quote, yes, Black's Law Dictionary, right? That's why I quote from the Organization of American States, the very first paragraph, because it's international, but it applies to Organization of American States. And that's why I read it first. I said, in the charter, right? They created the Protocol of Managua. Organization of American States created two protocols, right? They created the Protocol of Cartagena. Cartagena, the Indias means those indigenous in the Americas, and Protocol of Managua. And to support those two protocols, they give us specific settlement of disputes because they realize that the indigenous people would have approached these de facto administrations or de facto governments that you call them for their rights. And this is what they said in that uh, 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 protocol. It says article 27 of chapter 5 in the Pacific Settlements of Disputes. It says a special treaty of peace and friendship must be entered into, right? A special treaty will establish adequate means for the settlements of disputes. A special treaty with all these de facto administrations must be entered into. So the PPP government in Rwanda, they want to enter into no special treaty, bring all the tissues under one body, I will register them. Y'all become citizenship now. You abandoned your rights as aboriginals or indigenous. So I know can grab all the lands. That's why the two of them is in charge of distributing lands. A fraud Ali and Barjack Dio. Imagine they give themselves permission. They tell themselves that there's only two of them could distribute lands. Lands and surveys, anybody who applies to lands must send a list of names of people who applied for lands to the office of the CEO, the de facto CEO of the Corporation of Guyana. which is the office of the president. And the vice president, whose office is inside the office of the president, he must go through that list too. The Central Housing and Planning Authority sends their lists to that office for those two de facto to scrutinize. Only they suddenly got authority to distribute lands that does not belongs to them. Suddenly, Guyanese who live in across, oh, sorry, I can't say Guyanese. I got suddenly the whole of Reading Hoop, the embankment of Reading Hoop suddenly belongs to a group of people. The Azadins, Exxon, all of them that want to build a gas pipeline from shore to land. The whole place and gotta be removed. All the inhabitants of that area will have to be removed because suddenly they got powers which they don't have, but nobody challenges them. Because when you talk about challenging, they get frightened, push the tail between the foot and them. I can't tell Jack, you know nothing, because I might dead tomorrow morning. So what? But we got to wake up. We got to wake up, come off we knees, because they want us on our knees praying and asking God for some miracle. What they know that the miracle that they created because church and state are one. And a lot of us don't know that. So don't let me come off the topic because I want to continue reading. They are to establish a treaty of peace and friendship for disputed lands that belongs to the Aboriginal. This is according to Article 27, Chapter 5 of Article 27 of Chapter 5 of Pacific Settlement and Dispute of the Organization of American States. And after they have established these treaties of settlement and disputes and will determine pertinent procedures for each peaceful means such that no dispute between American states, it didn't say states, Guyana, Brazil, Argentina, it didn't say that. That's not American states. American states are the lineage that forms within the Americas over a period of time that belongs to the indigenous. You understand? We say American states, Guyana, but that's the de facto covering for it. This is shadow government. These are people who are ignorant. I mean, I was ignorant. And believe you me, if you think education expensive, try ignorance. Far more expensive. It could cost you your life if you're ignorant. Okay, where we at? Oh yes, procedures for peaceful means, such that no dispute between American states may remain without definitive settlement with a reasonable period of time. That means whenever these aboriginals like myself turn up, give what we want because it belongs to we. Y'all get my point? So when I did fighting 2 months ago about democracy, I now see why Jack you now let me laughing. When this little one, he think he brave. He can run in me face them of democracy. I can lock you up one time, two time. Plus he get kidnapped. And plus, I get a little boy for tell you that the cause emotional distress. We can put it before the court and we can stress it out. We can run the case. You gotta go in the pocket, you gotta get a lawyer. Well, here you could imagine now I'm fired up. I on fire. Let me tell you something. You see, knowledge. With knowledge comes responsibility, and with responsibility comes power. Those who are looking tonight understand this that I'm talking. Understand what I'm saying. Because if we don't understand power, we can end up with what I'm going to read now. Before you heal someone, make sure that they are willing to let go of that what make them sick. It's a parable. Before I start to educate you, and before you start listening to me, make sure you want to be out of the system that enslaves you. Because this is knowledge. And we want to pick this up. We want to pick up the book. You could imagine the internet got all the information that we need. You know who were the first settlers on the South American continent over 35,000 years ago? Before 1966, when we had our constitution was suddenly created, were the NORADs. Who were the NORADs? Go check it up. They're going to show you sub-Saharan Africa coming all the way down. And the black. Sorry, I got to use the wrong word. They're dark like me. Well, after being in different parts of the world, they got a little skin change. They get lighter. Some of them became darker. Some of them became taller. But the NORADs, they were over 80 million. Now, then, over 80 million. Now they're populating this world. I'm one of them. I'm the descendant of one of them. Out of 7.8 billion people, it's 4.6 billion. How can such a populated, overpopulated set of people got these people controlling me? And it's our education that they're giving. Sorry, it is our education that they're giving back to us. You can imagine that. If we read the Black Law Dictionary, we will understand the reason why English language was created. Because they couldn't find a law to control us. They couldn't use our own language to control us. Because I, self-law, am master. Islam. But they tell we, oh, no, don't say Islam. Islam means Muslim, them people was do terror and all them kind of thing. No, but we fail to read into it. And we think when we see Islam and we say Muslim, we think about a religious factor or religious sect of people. It's not religion. It was never religion. If we look in and read into it, then we realize it's a culture of people that we're talking about. It was their culture. It was never religion. It is man who took that and made it religion. It's man who took the sacred scripts, the book of life, and the book. Well, they can't find the book of life. They take the book of the dead and turn it into a Bible and tell us Christianity. And took the names and rearranged them and handed right back to us. Because they couldn't change the text indirectly. They just changed the outlooks of the text and make it European. Even to the word European, it's African. Came from the Queen Europa, who rules that part of the world. There's so much, and the beautiful thing is that there's so much information. So much information is there and it's available to us. It's a plenty. But when we turn on YouTube, we want to watch stupidness. We want to watch Chris. We name Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. And we got people talking a bunch of garbage when the day coming. And we running it. We like it. It sound nice. It entertaining we spirit. And when we get on Facebook, we talking one other business. Or if a man just get locked down, we follow with phone and we go on Facebook and we just put it up. Yeah, boy, praise me, I get it first. Or if we end up on Facebook, we up on TikTok looking for a companion. Oh my gosh, I tell you what. And all this information then the same internet. The same internet, all of information there. To those who are looking, it is the same internet that helps me with my study. It helps me with my study a lot. It brings the light to me. And I'm now sharing it with my brothers and sisters because you gotta pay for this. You gotta go to university and sit down and spend 4 years and pay $2 million for regurgitated access to slavery. Sorry, I gotta put it that way, but that's it. I got lots of friends who's get vexed when I talk because they say, "Well, I work. You call yourself doctor, and I work hard for me on, and you just suddenly turn up and call yourself doctor." So here's the question I ask them: who certified Plato and the other rest of them to become who they are? Nobody did, but they call themselves doctor. They call themselves professors. Who certified them? It is because the knowledge in which they gain, they told themselves that they were professors and doctors. So were me. What about me? I'm supposed to be called Sultan. I, self law, am master of who? This Gavin Matthews-Bey. I am master of this. In order for me to change you, I got to change myself. In order for me to be awoken and identify where I am, I got to do it myself. In order for me to come out of this enslaved uh, 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 system that I'm in, I have to proclaim that I'm free, and I did that. So now I can say, Islam, I self law am master. I don't care who vex. This person asked me who can stop the government from taking. Hold on, wait. Let me bring this up a bit. Uh, yes, let me bring it up on the screen. It says, who can stop the government from taking these lands for the oil and gas project? Simple. It is us. But in order for you to stop them, you got to be knowledgeable of the fact. When you think about who could stop the government, we want to say, well, we got to hire a lawyer or we got to get money. No, you got to get all those things. First thing you got to ask them is identification of who gave them authority. And you do that and you post it, you register the mail, and it goes to them. It's a legal notice. They have to respond to you. Failing to respond to you within the day's period that is given, then actions will be taken. It's sweet. You get to realize these people just making money off of you. Hey, this thing's so sweet, bad, but I tell you straight up, this thing is so sweet. Then you realize that you're living in a system that because of your ignorance, you got to pay. Much you got to pay to remain ignorant. You got to hire a lawyer because to represent you, you're ignorant. You're an idiot. You check the word idiot, and it's far worse than ignorant. You're domicile. That's what idiot means. You're de facto. That's what it means. I went in the same arena. I went in the same ring. I was a total idiot. I ain't denying the fact because I wasn't knowledgeable of the fact. But I didn't know that these people are living and trading and making money off of my ignorance. That's how it works when you're a slave. They trade you on the stock market. Who you think this trade? Goods and services? No, it's your birth certificate. They're trading life products. It's you the trading. Let me show you how this trade you, right? Let me show you how this trade you. Your daughter, your son turned 18 and now got into the working environment. The system knows that they have at least 33 years off of you. Right away off the bat. 33 years. Hard work. They make an estimated cost. What's the estimated cost of trading? Well, you look like another $1 billion. I can get $1 billion out of here. So right away that hits the stock market. And the stock market flows until when you die. Sometime when you die, you're still trading because the stock market becomes an illusion. Some man in the bottom house printing money, and some man at the top down there got a computer system running crazy. That's why they call it a bubble. It's an imagination. When it bursts, that's it. Confusion powder. That's how it works. Yeah, for real, that's how it works. So you're working for an imaginary system. That's why everything is in imagination. You check it. What is the worth of what I asked myself this question like a million times. Your country is so filled with resources that surpasses the strength of the US dollar. What the US dollar could give you that your country got? I just don't understand. What can the US dollar give you that your country got? Nothing. Nothing. Ask yourself the question, why you think they're here in these lands? Because they want to feed off of us and they want to give us nothing. And what's nothing? The dollar. And the only way the dollar gains strength is if I have slaves working for it. Slaves, yes. It's what you call present day slavery. It's high tech. That's how it works. They trade upon you. They make money off of you. And the more ignorant you become, the better. That's why we got to put you guys in a category. Each country got its citizens, or each corporation got its subjects in categories. So you got different categories of slavery. So we can make the money off of you. Nobody ain't gotta beat you no more or stand up over you with a whip. You either work or go to jail. One out of the two. And when you go to jail, you work more bad because you become the property. Now you become a direct property of the state. You can't say nothing. You gotta go and do what we say you must do. Yes. Yes, my friend. The Moorish science, temple knowledge, and the great awakening. of the Moors of Guyana. Yes. Can't say Moors of Guyana though. Moors of South America or America, one out of the two. Yes. So I self-law a master, that means Islam. It was good talking to you this evening. It was good sharing with you my knowledge. It was good having this. You imagine my will, my strength, my energies, I choose to give it to you free, free of charge, nothing more else. You not come to me university, all you gotta do is turn on Gavin Matthews page, Gavin Matthews Bay page. I gotta get accustomed to using this word Bay. Today whole day I'm practicing it. You understand? You can call me Dr. B because that's what I am. I have my proclamation. I didn't have to go to university for it. Turn on my page and then you can become edified. It's free of charge. I want to take some time to go into communities locally in Guyana and teach and arise the Moors. Get them out. It's not a religion. When I say Islam, please, oh, don't tell me nothing but Muslims and Christ don't like. The greatest trick the churches ever did is convince each other that each religion is bad and which one is good and which one is bad. You can imagine that. That's the greatest trick. Than telling me the greatest trick the devil ever pulled is that he doesn't exist. The greatest trick the churches ever pull, the wool over it, the eyes of those who attend church is to tell them each religion is bad. Don't study about the Hindu religion that is worship the six and God is idol. Oh, brother. Por favor. Por favor. Seriously. We got to sit down and think. The same scriptures that we use, that we call the Bible, when you read it, it teaches you about the cosmos. Cosmo, it's not cosmetology, cosmos. Teaches you about the science and the effects of the cosmos, that when we look up into the skies and we see the stars and all these things. When you read it properly, when 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 you started to awaken yourself, then you realize you're 360 degrees living soul. Each point, head, toes, left hand, right hand, 90 degrees each. North, south, east, west. And it teaches you about family. That is the only way a man can become who he is and a woman can become who she is, by family. That's how knowledge spread. That's how power is gained, by family, husband, wife, children. Not woman pon woman and man pon man. That is an abomination. Let's get it straight. Might hurt some people's feelings, but that's the way it is. You're living in a bubble. That's why you're behaving like that. If God wanted women together, he wouldn't make man. And if God wanted man together, he wouldn't make woman. Somehow or the other, we got have offsprings. But when you look out there and you see two animals, male and female, going through the process of evolution, who are we to stop that? That is why we're so corrupt. That is why we cannot be educated. We become so ignorant because we're so taken up on the things that doesn't concern us. As again I say, Islam to you, brothers and sisters. I, self law, a master. I hope that you have a very, very pleasant evening with my session. I'm looking forward to all the other sessions. As I study, I teach. That's a beautiful thing. I know all, but as I study, I teach. I study to make myself approved unto who? I, self law, a master. And we can become the same as unto each other. I can teach you now, but sometime you can become greater than me because you have evolved. I can teach you now because I'm now using another 5% of my capacity, of my cerebral capacity, which is my brain. I'm using 10 now, we're using an extra 5, 15. Sometimes edifying you now, you can use 25, more than me. That's how we need to rise each other up. That's how power is gained. And power isn't gained to defeat another man. Power is gained to rise up a people. So this earth can be replenished by positive energy. It is we who expand our living environments by empowering ourselves with positive energy. But because we don't empower ourselves, we reduce our living environments. We have catastrophic activities like hurricanes and earthquakes and all these things, and we fail to realize is the energy that we put out there that the earth reacts. We fail to realize we were born with three inalienable rights: the right to life, liberty, and property, because that's what the earth provides for us. But when we started charging each other for it and having people working like slaves for their own rights, to obtain their own rights, we have to enslave people. We are doomed. None of we ain't get saved. Because when the earth responds and reacts, all of we feel the brunt. So it's time for me to say the things that we need to hear. It's time to me to edify my people instead of trying to destroy something that was so wonderfully made. I want to say thank you once again. I want to say that Black Love will always remain the item on the list. It was patented by me, it was made by me. It is to put on materials and fabrics to be sold. Those who are ordering it are paying for the brand, not the material. Okay? So I wouldn't have to fall into the kind of conversation that we had today. Black love, it was designed for a particular purpose. The purpose was to stop the oppression, stop systematic slavery, stop systematic racism, stop the murder and the mayhem of an Aboriginal people. It is also created to sustain me, Gavin Matthews, because this is the only thing I do. I don't have any other thing that I do. This is my job. I want to say thank you once again. To stay safe, be careful, sanitize yourself, and those who are interested, please call the number beneath 592-611-625-75. This is Dr. Matthews-Bey saying good night and Cheerios for now.